Hey everyone, welcome back to Bradshaw's Workshop. This is part 3 of Justin's Peugeot 305 restoration project. In the last video you'd have seen me getting this cleaned up and on its side. It's now back on the floor. I didn't want to leave it overnight like that, so it's now back on the floor. It's dry, all the rear quarters have drained out. Yesterday I spent a little bit of time with a paint stripping disc on an angle grinder. So one of these, it's like a plasticky nylon thing. They're really effective at removing paint. I managed to get the majority of the near side of the car done, but unfortunately my my paint stripper started wearing a bit thin, so I persevered, cracked on with bits and pieces I had lying around, wire wheels, twist knot wheels in an angle grinder, but the noise was horrendous. So I kind of gave up, went home, been to tool station this morning, picked up another stripping disc, or two, sorry, a few more bits for the grinder. So we've got some cut brushes for the grinder. I've got a wire twist knot wheel, whatever they want to call it, and over here I've got lots of abrasives to go in the drill, lots of twisted wire wheels, crimped wire wheels as they call them. I've got a poly wheel over there, which is very similar to these things. Oh, and I bought a new drill because bearings in mine packed up yesterday. I mentioned the paint stripper that was in the cupboard over there somewhere, but I tried it over that side. It'd take a bit of the black paint off, but it wouldn't take off the paint underneath. So I'm going to wrap this up now, start cracking on, get my PPE on, and give this a good clean up inside the boot floor. With a bit of luck, I might start progressing on to the rest of the vehicle floor. My plan is to get this cleaned up by hand inside, and give it a little bit of primer after I've given it some rust treatment, so that I can then crack on with the underneath of the vehicle. And I've had an extensive look at what's going on, where all these holes are. It's really difficult to tell where the holes are with paint still on the floor, you see. So yeah, I'm going to get my wheels onto this, and once it's primed, I'll flip the vehicle up onto its side again, and I'll strip everything off the underside and see what we've got left to work with, and then I can begin the welding process. Now Andy's come, he's distracted me. You all right, mate? Yeah. Right, so I'm going to crack on in a bit, guys. So I spent the last day and a half removing all the paint and seam seal from the floor of Justin's 305. I've gone part way up the inner sills, up to the bottom of the door shuts. There's a small hole over there, and there's a small hole over there. But it's good news to me, because with those two small repairs, I shouldn't have to do much work to the inner sills. It's all just sort of contained to the floor pan. I'm in two minds whether to take this brace out and that brace out. But I think for now I'm going to see what the underside of the vehicle's like, and if we've got any holes that correspond with where these braces are, then I am going to take them out to make sure I get a thorough job done. So, just waiting on Andy. He's out there on this beautiful day tending to his allotment somewhere on the farm. So as soon as he's here, I'm going to get this on its side, start cleaning up all the underseal from underneath, and the seam seal out the wheel arches and inside the wings. I think it might be quite long-winded. I'm going to use my wire twist knot wheel on this, so I'm going to need to get all my PPE out, get my mask on, and get cracking. I'll do you a time-lapse video. Oh, here he is now, look. In a bit. Okay, as you've just seen me cleaning all of this up in a time-lapse video, I've recently got a bit tired of cleaning off all this Underseal, so I've been out, I've bought a massive tarpaulin which I've now wrapped the car up in, and a load of bungee cords to hold it up. I've also purchased a sandblasting pot, and this morning been out and picked up 25 kilos of aluminium silicate blasting media. Compressor's full up, and I'm going to have a bit of a blast down here once I got this last little bit of Underseal off. I did have a try yesterday. As you can see there, it's come up quite nice, and just behind that exhaust hanger there I've also cleaned up, and it's taken the rust off lovely. Not that the DEOX gel hasn't. That's done an absolutely fantastic job. The reduction of rust here is brilliant. Obviously it needs more work in these areas, but with the vehicle on its side, it's difficult to get that 4-5 millimeters of DEOX gel on there without it starting to run off before you get the cling film on. So I found that applying the DEOX gel to the cling film first and then slapping it into these areas proved to work quite well. There's a little bit more to do, but I'm going to see what the blasting does. I'm hoping the blasting will just take all of this off for me, and I've got plenty of DEOX gel left over them to treat things up at the front end of the vehicle and inside, i.e. the bottom of the scuttle panel through there and the top of the window on the passenger side. So I'm going to see what video I can get for you guys whilst I'm doing this blasting. I can't promise anything. It's probably going to be pretty dusty, so I've got to get all my gear on, get hooded up so I don't get a neck full of media, and start cracking. Alright, so seems my massive compressor over there doesn't want to keep up with the blaster. I've managed to get this done, but as you can see there's still a little bit of rust in the pitting. So I'm going to get the Bilt Hamber on it. It's not come up too bad, but I think maybe I'm better off trying to get rid of as much of this rust chemically first, and then we'll come back to blasting it maybe later on this afternoon. We'll see how the Bilt Hamber goes first. Okay, so I've just been putting on some of the Bilt Hamber DEOX gel whilst taking a phone call from the missus. First time I spoke to her today. Lovely to put a smile on my face. This stuff is uber messy. Bilt Hamber, they recommend that the thickness of the gel is between 1 mil for light rust and 4 mil for heavy rust. So it's around about 1 to 4 mil, and in a second I'm going to get some shrink wrap put on it and try and smooth it all over so it's got relatively even thickness. I'm not bothering too much within there because that looks to have holes, so I'm going to have to cut that out from the other side. This lot here got blasted earlier, but there was still bits of rust left behind. So I've put the DEOX gel on these. There's a dry bit there, look. There we go. And I'm going to wrap this up now, wait for it, and I'll probably crack on with the rest of the boot floor in the meantime with a wire wheel so that I don't blow off the cling film with the blaster. I'll try and get as much of the rust removed as possible before I go back over with the blaster, because it didn't seem to be doing too well. Alright, well, as you've just seen, I've removed the last bits of Underseal from Justin's 305 and the seam sealant. I've been out, I've purchased 2 bags of garnet 3060 mesh, blasting medium, which I'm going to try. This should be slightly more abrasive than the aluminium silicate, which was quite simply just turned into dust, and there wasn't really much left to sweep up after a blast. So I'm going to give this a try. It's reusable much more than the aluminium silicate. So I'm going to put you back on a time-lapse video, get the sheet back under this and start blasting this. Hopefully I can get it done by the end of the day. It is 2:15 though. I've been out this morning and I picked up that whopping great big pillar drill, this steel table frame, which I'm going to recycle into a mobile workbench for when I'm working on things like this, so I don't have to have my tools all over the floor. Those things are great, but only for small tools. When you start stacking angle grinders on and all your hammers on there and everything, there's just really not much room. I want something that I can weld on as well. So without further ado, I'm going to put you back at time lapse and I'm going to do this. Okay, well that took a little bit longer than expected, but I have now got the underside of the vehicle, all 4 wheel arches and the lower slam panel on the front all blasted up. I've got my Bilt Hamber Electrox primer. This is a zinc-rich anti-corrosion coating, which must go onto bare metal at the earliest opportunity. Rust does not sleep. It started to rain outside. My roof's not fantastic, so I do get the odd drip, although touch wood, fake wood, things have stayed dry for now. I've got the heater on. It's a nice 18 degrees in the workshop, so I've got about an hour to try and get this primer on so that I can head home, and tomorrow I'll come in and perhaps start chopping up the motor. Who knows? Okay, well that was lovely and easy. I've now got the Bilt Hamber Electrox zinc coating on there. It went on an absolute breeze, and in fact I'm truly astounded by the finish of it. Now I believe I've got to do a second coat. I've gone through 4.5 tins doing the entire floor of the vehicle and all 4 wheel arches and front chassis rails there. There's lots and lots of holes for me to weld up, as you can see. You can walk past and it almost sparkles. So I need to get on the blower and we'll get some sheet steel sent out for this and start welding it up. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button and share the videos if you want. Now, I don't want to become famous, but you know, it'd be nice to have a few more views for all these videos I'm doing. So don't forget to hit subscribe and stay safe, everyone. Bye now.